Proteas batsman Zubair Hamza has tested positive for a prohibited substance under the International Cricket Council's anti-doping controls. Cricket South Africa has announced that Hamza is not disputing the positive test and that he's fully cooperating with the ICC. The test batsman has also agreed to a voluntary suspension while written submissions are being sent to the world governing body. The positive test is for a substance called furosemide, which is not performance enhancing. According to CSA, Hamza was able to explain how it entered his system. He withdraws from the Proteas squad ahead of the Bangladesh series.
Broad has done it.
Sports fans around the country are happy with the return to stadiums, albeit only 50% capacity will be allowed. Fans also need to either produce vaccination certificates or a negative COVID test that's not older than 72 hours. Excitement is building up at the Greenpoint Stadium in Cape Town as Athletics South Africa Grand Prix gets underway today. Joining us from our Cape Town studio is our reporter, Justin Ford. Good afternoon, Mr. Ford. Always great chatting to you. I mean, you were at a Sanlam Cape Town Marathon event this morning. The former Rugby World Cup winning captain Francois Pienaar was present. What were his thoughts on the stadium capacity?
Good afternoon, Arthur. As Brad Dan says, Mr. Congo Fire, always good chatting to you as well. The Cape Town Marathon themselves, very excited. It only takes place in October later this year, but they themselves are excited that more fans have been allowed to return to events, just meaning that their spectator value hopefully will increase and in the October period. Hopefully by then they're hoping that it's at full capacity. But in terms of Francois Pienaar, he acknowledges how tough it must have been for many rugby players, being a former rugby player himself. They used to playing in front of fans, cheering them on, booing them, the opposition, having to face those hostile crowds. But he understands how difficult it has been for them. Yes, ASA Rugby have allowed 2,000 fans up until now, but moving forward with that 50% capacity at stadiums, it's something that he feels is a move in the right direction for those players out on the field.
So very important for everything, for rugby, football, cricket, running, that we can have some sort of normality. 50% is fantastic. Hopefully we'll be back to full stadia in the not too distant future. We play for passion, and the crowds bring you passion. When there's an empty stadium, I've never played in front of an empty stadium, so I can only imagine the impact it had on the players. But they were professional and they coped with it. I think they're going to just love it when there's a full house.
Well, that was Francois Pienaar, Rugby World Cup winning captain in 1995. Of course, just reacting to increased capacity at stadiums. Well, Justin, tonight sees the second Athletics South Africa Grand Prix event taking place in Cape Town at the Greenpoint track. And a co-founder of the Cape Town Marathon, Elana Meyer, must be happy to see fans at the stadium. Justin.
Absolutely. She, another one, having endured many races, Olympic games, being able to experience that euphoria of people supporting you and knowing how much that does for an athlete. You train year in, year out, and just to be able to be encouraged by these fans plays a massive part in your performance. They hope that will just spur them on. As you mentioned, yes, the second Athletics SA Grand Prix event taking place at the Greenpoint Stadium, the second out of 5. So hopefully fans will come out there as well, again producing their vaccination certificates or their negative PCR COVID tests. And this is what Elana had to say.
I think it's just so important. I think, I really think the last 2 years have been really tough for professional sportsmen, like most other industries. But to be in a position where we know that, the fans are going to grow from 500 to 2,000 to hopefully, have them back in, the fullest crowds, the biggest crowds that we ever had. And then to also for the athletes to appreciate that. I think previously you take it for granted that when you're out there, your fans are there with you. So when you're out there, be a spectator-friendly competitor.
All right, so good news from all the sporting greats there. We just heard from Elana Meyer. Thanks so much, Justin Ford, who is our sports reporter based in our Cape Town studios.